Welcome back, guys. Part 2, where the 7.3 Godzilla and the 6.6 Chevy L8T take on the long-winded Ike Gauntlet. So let's call it the Battle of the Rockies. All right, this is going to be a 174-mile rip up and down. Okay, what we're going to do is we started our climb. Basically, as soon as you hit Golden, Colorado, it becomes a solid climb until you get to basically Glenwood Canyon. So we are going to let the truck work in harmony with itself. I am not going to limit the 10 speed to anything. I'm going to let it do its own deal. Now, a lot of people say, well, it's going to have undue shifting. Well, it's never probably ever going to get back in 10th gear until we start going down one of these declines. So I'm going to set the cruise basically at 60. I'm used to going up this in a semi-tractor with 3 times the power, and it can't go up the hill more than 40 mile an hour with a load. And this is how I normally drive it anyway, because at the end of the day, guys, you do this with traffic. You get a slow truck, he's in the right lane for what he's doing, so that's not a shame on him, that's good. Then you got another truck that has a little bit more juice that can pass, and he'll stay in that lane for whatever. So I mean, I don't drive like constantly as fast as I can. I try and keep, distance and kind of plan my emergency exit just in case one of these people decides to do what people do and make weird decisions at certain points. So right here we can see the left lane is minimum speed of 55. The speed limit here is 65, and it does say over 26,000 pounds must use the right lanes. That is not for just CMVs, commercial motor vehicles, people. That is for you and me and everybody else when your specs of your load, your trailer, and your truck meet those requirements. Okay, so again, I'm just going to set it in at probably about 60, because what's going to happen is we're going to pretty soon be up other trucks' butts and everything like that, and that's kind of what I would do normally anyway. There's no sense trying to see if this truck will handle it at 80, 90 mile an hour, so we're just going to keep it within reason, but I will be utilizing cruise control for the entire up and down portion of this thing. So just kind of setting the stage again as to where we're at in this test. I'm going to be monitoring 10 transmission temps. We reset fuel economy for the entire trip. The next video is going to be the westbound ascent to Eisenhower. So a lot of people only do the one side of the tunnel. That's fine. They're both steep. They're both a pain in the rump. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. So right now I can tell you, yeah, the Ford's up in the torque band range, but that's where it makes its power. So we're okay with that. Ford's okay with that. Transmission temp is good, and this is a pretty good little pump up the hill. That guy up there in that trailer, he actually passed me. He has probably 13, 14 or something like that power stroke, but the General's having no problems doing 65 if that's what I wanted to do. But what tends to happen a lot of these curves here in Colorado, well, anywhere where there's wildlife, is you just got to plan ahead. There's no sense driving ridiculous. But, since how we're doing pretty good towing, everything's good. And as you guys might have seen in the other video, when we were using a heavier fifth wheel, that one itself was actually my parents'. We're using my fifth wheel this time. It's a little smaller, not too much, but a little smaller. And the brakes are brand new on it, so they'll be assisting us today. And it does have brand new tires. So in respect to everything, we have a pretty good setup, so the truck's not going to be doing any more work than it would normally be doing. And we're going to, just like I said, keep it in reason. So you can see right there, it's staying in 7th. It's never going to hit probably 8th, 9th, and 10th. And what I want to do with that is basically keep it in check when it comes to the descents, because I want to see, I've already shown that the truck itself will coast. And so I'm not worried about the fact that it's going to pick up speed. The other channels have already covered that if you just go down a hill, it's going to coast. That's what it is. That's actually another Godzilla right there. He was at the last fuel stop. He says he loves his Godzilla, so he's a devout Ford guy there, but nonetheless. So I'm actually picking up steam on this power stroke. And this guy, and that's again why I mitigate my speed, so I don't have to keep taking off the cruise and, you know, setting it, resetting it, whatnot. And then we're going to go over our first downhill, and then there's just going to be a little bit of a break in the driving before we get to the westbound ascent to Eisenhower Tunnel, which is a pretty long one. So again, I'm having to tap the brakes here and slow down. And again, this was on a Power Stroke, so not the new one, not the bigger, more powerful one, but still a diesel nonetheless. So when people say, you know, I got a diesel, he's just doing his thing. I mean, it's not bad, it's not good, it's whatever, but you know, here we go. You know, oh boy, you got to stay in your lane, pal. So that's the way that this test is going to work. And so I don't anticipate any problems. And then we're going to replicate this test with the Chevy. Hopefully weather will play just as nice, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, 5, 6, 10 degrees ain't gonna be a big deal. Right now we're currently at 49 degrees, so it is what it is. So we'll get this bad boy back up there, and we're gonna hit a hill just here in a second. I'm gonna shut my trap here for a minute and let you just listen. You can hear the engine working in this pickup for sure, no doubt. So, and then we'll see on the descent. Kind of a pretty shot over there, guys. Now, as a professional driver, I just want to touch base on a couple things, guys. And I said this in my other video, is it's great to have all the power in the world. It's great to, you know, to say you have the biggest and the baddest, but there's a lot that goes into my concept of what makes a truck good, okay? So I drive F-450s, but I do drive semi-tractors. I've done heavy haul, I've done everything, and you know, those trucks have tons of power and everything like that. But when it comes to like a light duty truck, like these pickups, they're in this class, and now they're rating them for 40,000 pounds and stuff. And that, to me, it's incredibly nuts to even think that, because the brakes aren't necessarily getting bigger. You know, I don't understand why somebody would not want to go at that point up to like a medium duty, like an F-650, or even per se like one of those light duty Freightliners or Peterbilt or Kenworths or something like that. But you know, these trucks, to be good, need to handle well. Meaning, how does this truck do with engine braking? How does it do with, you know, steering when the payload's on the bed? How does it feel? Does it feel light? Does it feel, you know, squirrely? I guess, you know, how do the brakes work? How does the cooling system work? Do I feel like this thing can handle itself? And so it's not just always about, well, I got 1,000 pounds of torque and 512 horsepower. That's great and all, because at the end of the day, you take that motor out of that Super Duty and you have the same Super Duty as I got. So really, yeah, you can tow more and you got a bigger motor, but does the truck even handle good enough just on it in its own sense of towing? You know, so that's some things that I'm going to touch on in this series, because we're taking on the Rockies. So again, I'm not touching my brakes at all. I did tap the cruise because somebody had cut me off before I turned the video back on, and I had some curves, but I haven't even used the brakes. So normal braking temperature, I have a heat gun, is about, on a 50-degree day, it's about 105 degrees, just normal driving through the city, etc. So nothing crazy there. But we'll take it after we come down and we find a safe place to stop. I'll get a reading on that. Okay, so far so good. That is going to be the end of this segment. So we did our first poll. Pretty much once you enter the Rockies, either from the west side of Colorado or from Denver, you are constantly climbing, and it's just kind of one of those things. So again, so far the 7.3 Godzilla is doing fantastic. The other Godzilla guy that was towing that other tow behind, that's probably like an 8,000 pound trailer, he is already long gone. But at the end of the day, I've driven these mountains. These roads are complete garbage up here, and I'm going to make sure I get where I need to go safely, and make sure all these other people around me, their drive is not affected by me in any respect. So we will see you at the westbound ascent video to the Ike Gauntlet, guys. Hit the subscribe button down there in the corner so you can get notified of my new content. And if you don't mind, give me a like, and we'll see you on the next one, guys.